The Europa League group stage heads into week 5 with kickoff Thursday, 26th of November. It's early days, and after the Champions League group stage, the teams who finish third in their respective group will join the Europa League, so the odds will change. Today, we're going to take a look at the odds as they currently stand, who's hot and who is struggling, with SBR contributor Martin Green. Now, as it stands now, Dortmund are the favourites to win the Europa League, priced 8 with 888 Sport. The winner of the Europa League will, of course, join the Champions League. Napoli are next, priced 13, Liverpool 17, Villarreal 21, and Tottenham also 21, rounding off the top 5. Now, in your opinion, do you agree with that order?
Yes, I think for the most part that's very fair. Dortmund have started the league in exceptional form. They've been fantastic in the Bundesliga. They're just 5 points behind the almighty Bayern Munich in second, and a full 8 points clear of Wolfsburg in third. And they've won 4 out of 4 games in the Europa League. They're top of their group. They've been scoring loads of goals. Aubameyang up front has been brilliant. So I think they're very much deserved favourites right now. I think in second favourites, Napoli is a very interesting bet. For me, they are the strongest of all the Italian sides in the Europa League, and that includes league leaders Fiorentina. And I think 13 to 1 is a very good price for them, because some bookmakers have them as low as 9. So if you can pick up 13 now, I'd suggest that's a very good bet. Then you've got Liverpool, who I'm not so sure about. I think they're still trying to find their feet under new manager Jurgen Klopp, so I'd perhaps avoid them. And Villarreal are quite interesting, but again, not so sure. But I think the fifth favourites, Tottenham, are a good one to look at, because they have a good young side that's finally clicking into gear, and they've got the legs to really go far in this tournament while also competing on the home front. But yeah, overall, I'd say that's a pretty fair top 5 for now.
Who would you consider as an outsider? Is there an outsider to consider?
Yeah, I'd say there are a few outsiders. It's a fascinating tournament, the Europa League. It doesn't have all the big boys from the Champions League, so you've often got these real outsiders having a real good shot. I'd suggest Athletic Bilbao is one to look at. They're a very strong side from Spain. Fascinating club that only accepts players from the Basque region of Spain, nowhere else in the world. But they're very strong. They've got a great team spirit. You've got the Swiss champions Basel, have a very good European record. They're one to watch. And I'd also suggest taking a look at Lokomotiv Moscow. You can get them at 70 to 1. And that's a fantastic price for a team that's third in the Russian league. They beat Russian champion Zenit St. Petersburg 2-0 in their last game. And Moscow's a very difficult place for European teams to travel to. It's far, it's cold, they have a long flight, they struggle to adapt. And that could really play into Lokomotiv Moscow's hands. So I'd suggest them as a good outside bet.
Okay, and out of all, because you obviously mentioned quite a few there, if you had to say maybe pick one, is there one you'd pick?
If I had to pick one of the outsiders, right now, I would go for Lokomotiv Moscow. That's a fantastic price, and I think they're a strong side.
Now, at the moment, it's looking like teams which are currently in the Champions League, such as Sevilla, Arsenal, Shakhtar Donetsk and Wolfsburg, might also join the Europa League if they finish third in their groups. How do you see the odds shifting when, obviously, we've got those teams coming over?
Yeah, I think the odds will shift dramatically. And the Champions League group stage ends in December, so that's when you'll see these teams drop in, and I think the odds will change greatly. Arsenal would probably end up as the strongest team in the draw by that point, and it's looking very much likely they will finish third in their group. So I would imagine they would go in as the clear favourites. But the question would be whether they take the Europa League seriously or not. I imagine that Arsene Wenger would think of it as a bit of a slap in the face to be in the Europa League, because they're in the Champions League every year, and he might field a weakened side and just really go for broke in the Premiership in England instead. But I would suggest Sevilla would go in at a very sort of short price, because they're the holders of this tournament. They look like they're going to finish third in their group, and I can see them having a real good go. And if they were to drop into this tournament, they would be my pick to win it. But yes, also Shakhtar and Wolfsburg are two very strong teams as well.
Yeah, because another thing as well to consider, say, with a team like Arsenal, you know, they really are as well competing for the Premier League right now. You know, they're neck and neck, they're up there. There is a chance that they could win it. So would they sort of rest players in Europa League matches to sort of concentrate on domestic league matches?
I think they might actually, yes. I've heard comments from the manager Arsene Wenger in the past where he said he's been quite disparaging about the Europa League. Arsenal, every season they get into the knockout stages of the Champions League, and they're a fixture there. And if they didn't make it this time, I could imagine him actually using the Europa League as a chance to blood in some sort of squad players and some up and coming youth team players, and actually just keep the likes of Mesut Ozil and Alexis Sanchez and their real big players for the crucial games in the Premiership. So I could see that being an issue for a team like Arsenal, but probably not for a club like Sevilla, say, that are unlikely to really be competing for the Spanish league when you've got Real Madrid and Barcelona doing so well there. So I would suggest that for a team like Arsenal, yes, that would definitely be an issue. That might also become an issue for Napoli if they're still there or thereabouts in Serie A by the end of the season. So it's definitely worth taking a look at the domestic league tables before betting on this tournament, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that a Champions League team will win the Europa League, or should we still consider Dortmund, who are having a great season this year?
I think Dortmund are still probably the team to watch. They've been in fantastic form. Aubameyang has scored a ton of goals and they're looking solid all over. And again, we come back to how they're going to be playing, how likely it is they're going to win their domestic league. And at the moment, Bayern Munich just look like running away with the German league every year. Nobody can get near them. So this would be a really good competition for them to go all out for. So I would suggest Dortmund, or perhaps Sevilla, if they drop into it, could be one of the teams to stop them. But I still think Dortmund are very much in with a chance of winning this, and they would be the top pick for now.
All right, fantastic. Martin Green, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.